Okay, let's dive in. Cold water swimming, it's a huge trend all over the world. People swear by it for all sorts of health benefits. But here's the thing. Beneath that chilly surface, there's a very real, very scientific risk. So today, we're going to break down the science of how to stay safe in the cold.
I mean, you see it everywhere, right? From wild swimmers out in the UK to these polar plunger groups in North America, millions of people are embracing the chill. And you can kind of see why. People talk about this incredible mood boost, a stronger immune system, even less inflammation. It really seems like the perfect natural health kick.
But, and this is a big but, for all those amazing, invigorating benefits, there is a danger that is so often and so fatally underestimated. A threat that doesn't take hours to strike. It can happen in just a few seconds. So what is this hidden killer that every single cold water swimmer absolutely needs to understand? Here's how we're going to tackle it. We're going to start with the main danger. You know, the big one. Then, we'll walk through what your body actually goes through minute by minute. We'll look at something called swim failure, and a really surprising danger that happens after you get out. And then we'll wrap it all up with how to prepare properly using a research-backed safety checklist. So, first things first, let's talk about the absolute fundamental challenge your body's up against the second it hits that cold water. It's a fight, really. A fight to keep its core temperature stable in a place it just isn't designed to be. And the main villain in this story, the one we all think of, is hypothermia. Now, the number you have to burn into your brain here is 25. Water pulls heat from your body 25 times faster than air does. Think about it. That's why a cool 15-degree day might feel pleasant, but 15-degree water feels dangerously, shockingly cold. But here's the twist. Hypothermia actually isn't the first thing you have to worry about. Not even close. The most dangerous part of any cold water swim is the very, very beginning. We're talking about the first 3 minutes. Take a look at this timeline. It shows you the 3 main stages of danger. And you'll notice real, clinical hypothermia, that doesn't usually set in for at least half an hour. The things that are going to get you right away are cold shock and swim failure. So let's focus on that initial shock first. Cold shock is your body's pure involuntary panic response to the sudden cold. You can't help it. You gasp for air, your breathing gets super fast and out of control, and your heart rate and blood pressure just shoot through the roof. It's a complete system overload. And that last point on the slide, it says it all. A staggering 60% of cold water deaths happen in these first few minutes. Not from getting too cold, but from drowning caused by this initial overwhelming shock. And just look at this number, 140% increase in your heart rate. That is a massive, instantaneous strain on your heart. Seriously, for anyone who might have an underlying heart condition they don't even know about, this shock alone could be fatal. It just shows you how physically violent that first plunge really is. Okay, so let's say you've made it. You managed to control your breathing, you've survived that initial cold shock. Well, the next battle is just beginning. This is when the cold water starts sinking in deeper, affecting the very muscles you need to swim and stay afloat. Researchers call this neuromuscular cooling. Basically, as your muscles get cold, their performance just nosedives. I mean, look at this chart. It shows you can lose up to 50% of your muscle strength. That means you literally become half as strong in the water, even if in your head you feel totally fine. Now, these numbers are just stark. In 10 degrees Celsius water, which is pretty common for wild swimming in places like the UK, your expected survival time is only about 1 to 3 hours, and that's if you're just holding still. But here's the real kicker. If you're actively swimming and using those cooling muscles, you can actually cut those survival times in half.
So how do you know when you're in trouble? Well, researchers have come up with a really practical rule of thumb. You need to monitor your stroke rate. If you feel like it's dropped by more than about 10%, that's your body's signal. It's telling you that swim failure is starting to set in. And that's your cue to get out immediately.
All right, so you've had your swim, you're out of the water, and you think, phew, the danger's over. Not so fast. There's this really weird, counterintuitive thing that happens next, and it can actually be one of the most dangerous parts of the whole experience. It's called afterdrop. So here's what's going on. While you're in the water, your body does this clever thing where it pulls all the warm blood into your core to protect your organs. But when you get out, the floodgates open. All that cold blood from your arms and legs rushes back to your center, causing your core temperature to keep dropping even when you're on dry land. This can lead to collapse or even cardiac arrest. So fighting afterdrop requires a very specific plan.
First, get those wet clothes off and dry your torso right away. You've got to protect your vital organs. Then, layer up with warm clothes. Think wool or synthetics. Never, ever cotton. A hot drink, but no alcohol, warms you up from the inside, and some gentle movement helps get that circulation going again.
So now that we get the dangers, let's talk about the solution, which is all about preparation. How do you actually get your body and your gear ready to handle the cold safely?
It really boils down to two things, your body and your bag. For your body, it's all about acclimation. Research has shown that just 6 short, cold immersions can actually cut your cold shock response in half. It's amazing. And for your gear, a good wetsuit can double or even triple your safe time in the water. And a hat is absolutely non-negotiable for preventing heat loss.
Okay, we've covered a ton of science here, so let's put it all together into one simple, powerful tool that you can use every single time you even think about going for a cold swim.
This is it, your research-backed checklist. First, never swim alone, period. Know the conditions before you go. To get in safely, acclimatize over time, and always go in slowly, feet first. While you're in the water, wear the right gear and listen to your body. If that stroke starts to fail or you can't stop shivering, get out. And for recovery, remember the golden rule. Warm your core first.
At the end of the day, cold water swimming can be an absolutely incredible experience. But as we've seen, the science is crystal clear. That thrill is only worth the risk when it's balanced with the right knowledge. And you know, all of this life-saving stuff we've talked about, from that scary cold shock response to the afterdrop recovery, it's all distilled directly from high-level university research. And that's really the whole mission of places like academicjobs.com, which is the source for today's explainer. They're all about taking complex, cutting-edge research from top institutions and making it accessible and easy to understand, so you can get the knowledge you need to stay safe and informed.